One of those days. Bitcoin's dumping. I'm back in my father-in-law's bedroom.
It's
Getting back
you
to
know
basics. We're celebrating the Bitcoin dump here.
what are you drinking there? Is that champagne?
A little champagne, you gotta celebrate these
Dude,
opportunities to buy Bitcoin low.
it's pretty fucked up. It's pretty fucked up that you required a morning rip this week and you're drinking and I'm not. But I'm on the coffee salt of the earth grind over here.
Cheers to you, sir.
I'm an
Cheers to
hour
you,
earlier
Bubba.
than you. Cheers, salt of the earth.
You're an hour earlier than me, and I've got a wedding today.
Fair enough.
One of my good high school
Freaks,
friends.
it's officially a bear market because Marty's in his father-in-law's bedroom. Last time he was streaming from his father-in-law's bedroom, they manufactured a pandemic and locked us all in our houses. So,
Yeah.
Marty, you promised me a super cycle. I know I was publicly against that call, but God, I was really hoping you were right on that one.
Hey, it's too early. It's too early to call it.
No, I think not only did you call it super cycle, you said no more dumps. You
Yeah.
specifically said no more dumps.
Hand up. That was on me. You get a little excited. You get a little excited when the price is running up. And I think anybody listening right now is scared. You gotta reframe your brain. Do a little Scott Adams work. Reframe. It's not the sky is falling, the price of Bitcoin's falling. Oh my gosh, what's happening? We're all gonna be poor. It's like, oh, reframe. Sats are cheap. I should pick some up.
Is today? It's an early Black Friday sale, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I think. Well, I mean, people should stay humble, stack sats. I think if more people stay humbled and stack sats, they'd be in better position right now.
I agree.
The humble part's the hard part. It's the most important part. Bitcoin is a marathon, not a sprint. You don't want to get wrecked before hyper Bitcoinization. But I don't think we've bottomed yet. I think we go lower.
You think so?
I do not pretend to have any idea where we go, but I'm thinking like low 70s bottom.
I don't know where we go. You think low 70s?
Did you see what I named this episode?
No, not yet. What'd you call
I don't like. We've been talking about it for 6 months now. We've basically been in a quiet depression. So like the macro landscape is fucking horrible. So on the macro side, it's fucking horrible. October 10th, the great shitcoin market crash where Binance went down for 30 minutes. Like I'm pretty sure a bunch of shitcoin shops, big shitcoin shops, got absolutely wrecked, and those bodies haven't surfaced yet. Like I'm pretty sure on the Bitcoin side, we've seen forced selling from a bunch of those guys. Meanwhile, you have all the Bitcoin stocks, the leveraged Bitcoin stocks that are just completely in the shitter, and the narrative surrounding them. I mean, I don't know if you saw, but Naka's cost basis came out, and they literally top ticked
it?
their
126.
Bitcoin. It's like literally top tick. So at least from a narrative point of view, some of those guys need to unwind. I don't know how much like actual number wise, how much real sell pressure is there.
Yeah, and in their
But
defense, I top tick too. I was buying the top as well. So hopefully they're
yeah, but
buying the
like your
bottom.
full cost basis, your entire average cost basis is not the literal top. You have to be like that's an impressive fail. And everyone like and Japan seems like it's breaking. SoftBank opened 10% down. Nvidia, the most valuable company in the world, is trading like a fucking shitcoin. And everyone's waiting to see liquidity get injected into the system. Everyone's expecting a print to happen, and a print that to the level that we've never seen before, which will probably be the case. The question is when will that happen? Not really if. So, I think there's probably a little bit more pain. There's probably a little bit more pain to see, but regardless, the advice remains the same, which is to stay humble, stack sats, hold self-custody, don't get wrecked, buy real Bitcoin, don't buy Bitcoin stocks?
I'm getting a lot of texts this morning. Like, should I buy? What should I buy? It's just like, yes, you should buy and just buy Bitcoin.
Yeah,
To
I
your
mean,
point
to
about,
that point, yeah, go on.
to your point about money printing, um, for you freaks, you think I look a little groggy right now? It's because I am. I had second week in a row of red eye flights from the West Coast, and I did not sleep on this red eye flight, so I'm exhausted. But while I was on the flight, did find some time to read some articles on Zero Hedge. And to your point about money printing, it looks like Japan has announced that they're going to step in with some pretty significant stimulus in their markets.
Yeah, I mean, they have no choice.
Yeah.
And we live in a global world, particularly on the Bitcoin side, and everything's connected here, liquidity wise. I mean, what I was going to say is, we as the largest investor in Strike, I personally am heavily involved in their day to day. I was talking to Mallers earlier, and Strike all sounds good. We have record volumes today. Website hasn't gone down, app hasn't gone down. It's working as expected. And I mean, it's crazy. We've almost broke our daily record in terms of buy sell, and it's only 10:20 a.m. on the East Coast right now. So it'll definitely be a record day. Right now, for the freaks wondering, it's a stat that I like to track. 61% buy side. So on Strike, it's 39% of the volume is people selling, and 61% is people buying.
You love to see it. More buyers than sellers. I was in San Francisco this week. Spent a lot of time at Presidio Bitcoin, talking with some incredible Bitcoiners. And it's still funny. Like even some of us who've been in it for a while, I was asked like, "What's driving the price lower?" Like, I'm at the point in my Bitcoin journey. It was just like, I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know why it's going lower. Is it macro? Is it OG whales getting out? I think on-chain data a few weeks ago proved that there certainly was OG selling, but I don't know if that's the drive right now.
Look, the OGs always sell in every bull market. That's how free markets work, right? And that's how Bitcoin gets distributed to new people. Was this time a higher magnitude in terms of absolute numbers? Yeah, because Bitcoin, in terms of absolute numbers, have the highest market cap and the most liquidity, and now we had ETFs and stuff to sell into. But I don't know percentage wise if that's the case. I mean, you could say like percentage wise, people that have held for greater than 10 years, but it's also because Bitcoin's older. Like last cycle, there was way less people that could have owned Bitcoin for 10 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's definitely a little part of it. I think the macro side is big. I see a Bitcoin Knots person in the comments, and I will say that is finally circled into normie land. One of my high school friends asked me if the Bitcoin Core, most recent Bitcoin Core release, is the reason for the collapse, and I will just say that if you think that's the reason that Bitcoin's down, you're retarded. And I expect when we hit new all-time highs again, and the op return change has not been reverted, for all of you that are claiming that that's the case, to admit that you were wrong. And if Bitcoin
I
goes
had
to zero, then I'll admit that I was wrong. How about that? We can
I,
have a deal.
I had somebody in my menchies yesterday be like, Bitcoin Core V30 only has 11% adoption, like proven failure. It's like, come on, like this is everybody, or not everybody, obviously not everybody, but the typical trend that you'll see when a new version is released. It's a relatively slow uptick. You'll have people test it out. Nobody's really in a rush to upgrade. Just because core version 30 is only at 11% now doesn't mean it won't increase, or that's a signal that a strong signal. I'll say maybe there probably are people on the margins not upgrading because they're worried about it, but I don't think it's abnormal.
No,
That
I think historically that's actually a quite quick uptick in updates. And I would just reiterate, and maybe I won't get flamed by the not side because now it's in their favor for me to say this, but the fascination with node counts like needs to die because it's the easiest metric to fake. That's why proof of work exists. So a single person can run, thousands of nodes. That doesn't actually change anything on the network. It matters how many individuals are actually running and using their own node. I would say on the narrative side, in terms of FUD, every Bitcoin downturn we have our share of FUD. Usually it's the same FUD. The new one this time around is quantum. Like a lot of high net worth investors, institutions, I think, are thinking about the quantum question. I know Preston recently had a podcast where it was focused on quantum and it spooked a bunch of people. Like I've been getting a lot of questions about it. I will just say that I don't think it's a real risk. Definitely not in the short term. But I do think from a project side, we should be prioritizing, mitigations in the next 5 years or so. At the very least, just to have a good answer to the narrative, right? Regardless
Yeah.
of whether you think it's technically necessary or not.
Yeah, we've
But it's not
addressed
something
this.
that keeps me up at night.
No, and we've addressed this many times in the past. Like if quantum comes, like Bitcoin's not the only thing that
Yeah,
has a
but I
problem.
don't think that's like a reasonable answer for
I
a
know.
high net worth. Uh,
No, but everybody's like, oh, they're gonna like Bitcoin's screwed, and they act like nothing else is
I know,
susceptible
but
to.
the answer should be like, if you're concerned about this, you can move into a quantum resistant address type. You have that option available to you. Um, and I think there's some decent proposals out there, and we'll get that done.
Yeah.
I see the freaks are alive and well in our Nostr live chat. The easiest way to join the Nostr live chat is downloading Primal in your favorite app store. We have Florida Justin zapped 22,222 sats, palindrome zap. Mandibles then Bitcoin
It's
Standard,
the
heading
first
to a
time you've
flight.
ever said that.
Too glad you went live now. It really does feel like Mandibles, Marty. Don't you see some similarities with the books?
Yes. Yes. And
Uh,
to correct that sentence, it's I'm headed to a flight too. Glad you're live now.
and
It's
I
not
said
too.
books, but it's just one book.
Yeah.
But read Mandibles if you haven't yet. We're living through it. Mandibles and then Bitcoin Standard. Mav21, Ride or Die Freak, Zap 21,000 sats. Thank you, sir, for your support. And Keith Miola, Zap 21,112 sats. I've been a Ride or Die for a year, but don't get to make it live too often. Thanks for the signal. Race car Zap.
Race car. Race car. Another palindrome. Another palindrome. All right, let's get to the list. But before we get to the list, let's go to Clark's dashboard to fill you freaks in the incredible state of the Bitcoin network. We're sitting at a price of 83,110 cuck bucks. Sats are on sale. One cuck buck is going to get you more than 1,000 sats. Currently, 1,203 sats. We're looking at a $1.66 trillion market cap. We are currently 34.1% below the all-time high, which is $126,160. We are at block height 924,584, which means we are 760 blocks away from the next difficulty adjustment, estimated to be on November 26, 2025. That is this year. So that's 5 days from now. Looking like a negative downward adjustment of 2.1%. Blocks have been coming in at 10 minutes and 13 seconds on average. This would be the second negative difficulty adjustment in a row. Currently, there are 3,266 transactions in Clark's mempool. If we go over to mempool.space, we will see that there are 38,785 transactions in his mempool. And while we mentioned difficulty adjustment, hash rate, another thing that happens when the price falls is that you have a ton of people who don't like Bitcoin, particularly in the gold bug crowd or banking crowd, like to hop in and throw terrible stats at you. And one of the stats that I've seen over the last few days is people citing the fact that the cost to mine a Bitcoin for Bitcoin miners is something like 106 or $107,000. And if you see this and you're worried, like, oh my gosh, miners are all unprofitable, like that is an incredibly stupid stat because you cannot know the cost of every miner that is plugged in to the network. It's dependent on your machines, your electricity cost, and your operational efficiencies. And there is no single cost to mine a Bitcoin for every miner out there. There are plenty of miners that are doing it profitably right now.
Yeah, there's a ton of different variables. It's one of the dumbest fucking stats ever. But I would say, I mean, would you agree that uh, high volatility times are things change, right? But if you blend it out, right? If you blend it out and you do like a longer time frame, the the average quote unquote cost to mine a Bitcoin is probably near whatever the market price is, because it
Yes.
tends to trend towards zero. It's highly competitive, and people that are unprofitable will literally shut off. People that were over leveraged will get wrecked and leave.
Yeah. And I think 2 downward difficulty adjustments in a row is a signal that there are miners out there who are the cost to mine a Bitcoin is higher than the current price. And so they're making the economic decision to turn their machines off so they don't have to buy that electricity and mine at a loss. But yeah, I've seen that stat 3 times in the last 2 days. And so there are people
Yeah,
trying to say there is one price that it takes to mine a Bitcoin. That is not the
yeah, it's
case.
retarded. Well, no, that's what I said earlier, right? It's like every time there's Bitcoin downturn, we get pretty much the same FUD, right, over and over again. And one of those is always mining death spirals, right? Like all the miners are unprofitable and are going to spiral to death, which is just not the case. And it's one of the beauties of Bitcoin's difficulty adjustment, is that the miners that are unprofitable will go out of business. The difficulty will adjust down. We will hit an equilibrium, and then new entrants will come into the market, and difficulty will go back up,
Yes, it will.
and then even higher, because difficulty tends to go up forever.
Your pup doesn't like when difficulty goes down. He wants that number to go up.
So one of my dogs likes eating diapers, and
Got a
my
tongue
wife
waster.
is wife is dropping off a toddler, our toddler, with a friend. So she's out of the house, and so the diaper eater needs to be in the room with me right now until she gets back. So that's why you're hearing her, and she's not happy about it. She wants to get out.
Oh, and so he's not mad about lower difficulty adjustment. He's mad that he can't get his fix.
Can't get into the diapers. Yeah,
He's fiending right now. He sounds addicted.
a little bit.
Does he need to go to rehab? Diaper rehab.
Diaper rehab.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, on to the list. On to more serious things. We talk about this every time the price goes down. What we like to do here is to be your rock. We're your rocks through this journey. Okay. And we're going to talk about stuff that matters. We can talk about price. Obviously, we talked about price a lot, but there's more going on beyond price, and something that we've been covering for many years, and something that we care deeply about is the state of the Samurai developers, Keon Rodriguez and William Hill. And we talked about it last week because Keon had been sentenced and the judge threw the book at him even after the plea deal. So he got 5 years in prison, $250,000 fine, I believe. And then William Hill was sentenced, I believe, late last week after we recorded, earlier this week, and he got 48 months and 3 months or 3 years
4 years.
probation. 4 years of probation. 48
No,
months,
no.
4 years.
48 months is 4 years. It's weird when they do it in months terms.
Yeah. So 4 years and then 3 years of probation after.
And a
Keon,
$250,000 fine as well.
yes. And Keon,
yeah, go on.
Keon went on the Kim Iverson show. I highly recommend you guys go watch that. I think we have less than a 30-day window here to really push for a pardon from the from President Trump for these two individuals, and I would throw the Tornado Cash developers in there as well. Um, and there's a petition, a change.org petition that's going around trying to get as many signatures for that. Um, I signed it yesterday. I highly recommend you freaks sign it if you believe that open source developers producing Bitcoin wallet software, non-custodial Bitcoin wallet software, should be able to do so without having to fear um, uh, of getting thrown in a cage because their end users do something bad with Bitcoin.
100%. And I would just add, because there's been a lot of confusion out on the internet. They did not get sentenced for money laundering. They got sentenced for unlicensed money transmission. So what they pled guilty to and what they got sentenced for was basically not KYCing their users of their self-custody wallet, which is insane. It is not money. They did not do money transmission. Yes, they pled guilty, but they were facing up to 25 years on the money laundering charge or the conspiracy for money laundering charge. It's hard to imagine being in their shoes, particularly with families. On that note, we do have a link that shows both the petition and a link to donate to support their families. It's billandkeon.org. Consider donating a little bit of sats. I think we find a lot of pride in this community being family first and family friendly, and Bitcoiners need to have more babies and raise more strong families. And when one of our own is in a position like this, it's important to be out there and support their families that are, I can't even imagine what they're going through right now.
Yeah. Keon, Bill, if you're listening, we're pulling for you. We're praying for you. And anybody out there who is connected to the administration and can put a word in to push for a pardon, I think that is desperately needed right now. We talked about Strike already, looking like a record morning for them. I don't know if you want to add anything there, but people are
Stay humble, stack sets.
Stay humble. Block, whirlwind for them the last couple of weeks. They were in DC earlier this week fighting for de minimis tax exemption for spending Bitcoin. I actually recorded with Steve Lee while I was in San Francisco at Presidio Bitcoin. Beautiful Bitcoin co-working space, by the way. Beautiful podcasting studio, by the way. But we talked about this. I basically pressed him. I was like, "Why only $600?" And he actually had a good response to that, which is the crypto lobby apparently is pushing for a $50 exemption because they really want to force people into stable coins. So there's like 3 proposals out there right now, one for $50, one for $100, and then Senator Lummis's push for $600 de minimis tax exemption for spending Bitcoin at merchants. And I think this is given the 3 options, you want to get the most. Obviously, it's not ideal. I wish it was
I mean, in
higher. I
like
wish
a year, like a hamburger is going to cost $600 with the way inflation's going. A little bit ridiculous.
Yeah. But it was good to see Block, boots on the ground, really pushing this campaign in DC. Had a bunch of food trucks around the city. Had a bunch of their merchants activated. Shout out to Compass Coffee. And many others in the DC area who came out and helped with this campaign. I think I was with Miles. I think I know I was with Miles Suter earlier this weekend, last week, and I think they're really going to be leaning into this campaign moving forward. So make your voice heard. Call your rep. Not only call your rep for the de minimis tax exemption, but I had Kyle Olney on, underrated Bitcoiner. We talked about the Clarity Act, or the market structure bill technically, but the Blockchain Regulatory Clarity Act, which provides protections for open source developers and individual Bitcoiners when a self-custody. And there was a big call to action there. Go to saveourwallets.org, put your zip code in, figure out who your reps and your senator are, and give their office a call and say that you want the market structure bill to include the Clarity Act language, particularly the language that is being put forth by the Agriculture Committee.
Which protects open source developers of self-custody wallets, right?
Yes, and individual Bitcoiners self-custodying their Bitcoin as well.
I just want to say on the cap gain side, as an American, what I support is Trump should just listen to his campaign promises of cutting our taxes and get rid of all cap gains tax across all assets. I think it's what the economy needs right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because I mean, cap gains is like all taxes are predatory, but cap gains specifically in an inflationary environment, it's a savings tax. It's like you're trying to escape inflation, so you go into assets, and then the assets go up in paper because they're valued on an inflationary currency, and then they tax you on that, even though you might not even have a real gain in real purchasing power. It's fucking insane. So
yeah,
but good to see Block, putting their resources behind this de minimis tax exemption. It seems like they put it all over DC, so it's pretty hard for our federal politicians to not notice the campaign.
Yeah, and go check out that interview with Kyle. So the setup for that interview, Connor Brown put us in contact on Monday. Figured out Kyle was in San Francisco. I was like, hey, I'm headed to San Francisco tomorrow. You want to record? I landed, went straight to Presidio Bitcoin, hopped in the studio with very little context, and was extremely impressed with Kyle. We had an incredible conversation. Very underrated coiner in the space, particularly focused on policy. We need more of that.
Love it. We'll give it a listen.
Staying in DC, Representative Warren Davidson, OG, pure. He's a pure coiner. I want to call him a Bitcoiner. I'd call him a pure coiner. I think it's more than a Bitcoiner. Particularly,
he's one of our best, and he's very focused on the privacy side too, which is really good to see. Very few.
So he put forth the Bitcoin for America Act, which marks an important step toward modernizing our financial systems, embracing the innovation that millions of Americans already use every day.
No,
but
the big thing here is you can pay your federal tax bill with Bitcoin and get exempted from cap gains, which accomplishes which has an interesting incentive alignment, because then he says that Bitcoin should go into the strategic Bitcoin reserve. So Bitcoiners that opt into that and pay their federal taxes with Bitcoin would basically be getting, a 20 to 30% discount depending on where they live, because they're not paying cap gains. It's particularly if their cost basis is way low, it's really significant. Then meanwhile, that Bitcoin leaves the market forever because it goes into the SBR, and it would basically add a way for the government to stack sats on a reoccurring basis with very little effort. It's an interesting proposal. I mean, I still think we should just get rid of cap gains altogether, but
I do as well. But
I kind of like this proposal.
Yeah, if you take what you can get, like you pay your taxes in Bitcoin, you avoid the cap gains hit with that, and then you just reset your cost basis by just buying the Bitcoin that you paid your taxes in with the cash that you would have paid your taxes in if you're not living on a full Bitcoin standard. Which is the way to do that. And on top of this, Bitcoin Policy Institute has a calculator on their website now that will help you visualize, or help the government visualize, the politicians visualize what this could mean in terms of being able to accumulate Bitcoin for the strategic Bitcoin reserve. And who made that? What's his name? It's escaping me right now. Analyst that came out of nowhere with the Bitcoin Treasuries website. MBK Peter Rizzo. You guys better watch out. This guy's coming for the Treasuries website domination. Can't find his name. Do you know it off the top of your head?
Nope. I don't know why you care so much about finding out. But I do think, look, I mean, obviously, in terms of strategic Bitcoin reserve, it does seem like the incentives are aligned here for this actually to be a passable bill. So we'll see how it goes. Um,
Oh, you think so?
it's a it's
You're
an
optimistic
interesting
on
proposal. Yeah, I
his
think
name
it's an
is
interesting proposal.
Rohan Harani. Shout out to you, Rohan. Shout out to you, Rep Davidson. You need to come on the pod, sir. He did a podcast or short interview with Connor Brown from BPI earlier this week explaining the Bitcoin for America Act. So if you're interested, go to BPI's YouTube, go to Connor Brown's X account, and the interview is there. Next up, in the deal space in our industry, Kraken has raised $200 million from Ken Griffin's Citadel to notch a $20 billion valuation. I believe they also filed for an IPO as well.
Yeah, I mean, the IPO rumors for Kraken have been going for like 5 years. So we'll see if they actually pull it off this time. But I mean, I
Mint
think,
bill.
look, this valuation is quite notable. Kraken is obviously one of the longest running exchanges. It was running during the Gox era. And they have a very strong reputation in the space. I don't remember them ever losing client funds. And yeah, I mean, obviously, Citadel is a massive juggernaut in the TradFi space. Citadel, if you're not aware, was one of the main backers of Robinhood, which is an interesting. It's an interesting play by them because obviously, I mean, you would think that Kraken is also going to be a strong competitor to Robinhood.
Yeah. And Citadel backed Robinhood because Robinhood is a little backstory for those who don't know why the Wall Street bets, the GameStop drama in 2021 was so high. Because Robinhood basically came to market with a new model for trading securities, which historically, up until Robinhood launched, you'd have to pay per trade a fee. And Robinhood launched with no fees, and everybody thought, "Oh, this is great." But they were the trade off of that model is you don't pay a fee if you're buying securities on Robinhood, but they monetize by giving your order flow to Citadel and other market makers.
Yeah, particularly fucked up business model.
Yeah, and
I
that
would like to see more ethical business models that are user focused emerge as we see a more competitive landscape with less user lock in, which is what open protocols provide. It's something that we're intimately focused on supporting and building at 1031.
yeah,
I think there's a better way. I mean, if you see stuff like Strike, right? Strike offers, you can use Strike without paying a cent to Strike. You can do free DCA. So you can do free reoccurring purchases and not pay a broker fee. And you can do free withdrawals if you're willing to wait and you don't want fast withdrawals. You can do free withdrawals. And then how does Strike monetize? Strike monetizes by charging if you do just open, transparent fees if you do a smash buy or smash sell. On the borrow side, Strike charges, and on fast withdrawals, a lot of people opt for fast withdrawals. And so what you see there is you see an ethical alignment with the user base, and the users aren't locked in because if Strike offers a bad product, users can easily switch to something like Cash or Robinhood or wherever because of Bitcoin.
yeah,
So I want to see more of that. It is the harder path, but I think it can be incredibly profitable. And long term, it's just better for society. So more of that.
yeah. More of that, please. Speaking of more of that, there's more pub keys spreading throughout the country. Pubkey DC,
Looks awesome.
long anticipated opening. I loved being in San Francisco, and I was very fortunate to have been in San Francisco for while I was there, but I did have a lot of FOMO for missing the Pubkey DC launch. That neon sign is incredible. That is incredible branding right there. But I'm sure many of you saw one of the big headlines coming out of the Pubkey DC launch was the fact that Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent stopped by to hang out with us prestigious and esteemed Bitcoiners.
Pretty crazy dichotomy. Bitcoin, down $40,000 from the highs, chaos in the streets, people freaking out. And then the Treasury Secretary of the United States is at a Bitcoin bar launch. Fascinating. What a timeline we live in.
Very fascinating. Shout out to Thomas, Germano, Jerk, Dan, everybody involved. Andrew, everybody involved at Pubkey. I'm bummed I couldn't be there. I was away for good reasons though, and I will certainly.
Also, while we're shouting out Pubkey people, a quiet legend involved in the Pubkey build out is Thomas's wife. I will not dox her name,
yes.
but
Yes.
she's a true ride or die and
Mrs.
awesome
Pakia
person.
is a legend. She's a legend.
Yeah.
Love you guys. Also, shout out to you freaks out there. I saw you wearing the Sats hats at the Pubkey opening. I'm very very honored, very humbled, very flattered that you're repping the Sats hats. Matt's idea. I'm monetizing it.
Yeah, I get no cut. Are you inflating the supply? You said it was limited edition, but I see you're still selling them.
The first, yeah, we inflated the supply.
Everyone's a fucking scammer.
And yeah, it's great to see Bitcoin third places. And
did you see the shit post that like Bitcoin is dumped so much that it costs 20,000 Bitcoin for a burger because of how Square shows Sats?
I was with Skylar this week, and he it is hey, we get a lot of BIP 177 trolls in the comments, and obviously the trolls pick on us particularly because I mean I will give credit. All credit is due to you, Matt, for popularizing stacking sats as a meme. And it's funny because we really sent that meme mainstream with Cash App when they were our advertiser many years ago. And they've insisted to adopt bit 177, which puts the Bitcoin sign before sats.
Well, it's a slightly modified Bitcoin sign.
Slightly modified
right? It's
Bitcoin
like a specific sign. Bitcoin sign, and it's a logo for sats. Like I feel like people are arguing about different things.
And all the block people are going to die on the hill. Steve Lee, we didn't talk about it on the podcast, but we've had this conversation before. It's like it's just better. Like you don't have to explain sats, and like people with the Square rollout. This is one of the feedback I've seen tweets about. I've seen screenshots. I'm not just making this up. Some of the merchants think they're getting like 3,000 Bitcoin, and the Bitcoiner is paying a Bitcoin. He's like, no, you're not. These are called sats, and they're like, what's sats? And it's like pennies. It's like pennies and dollars.
Yeah, then you have the conversation anyway.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. And so,
you still have to explain to them what sats are. You're not really avoiding the conversation. And then the funniest part is, and also, Steve is a good friend, but they've been like championing the, they're like other wallets need to incorporate this so the user isn't as confused or whatever. It's like, it's not incorporated in Cash App yet. It's like clean up your house first. And no, and it does like 0.00002 Bitcoin or whatever. So look, I don't think there'll ever be agreement on what the Sats logo is. That's kind of the beauty of an open network, right? There's no like head of design for the network. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool that Sats have become the standard in quite a short period of time. And it just makes sense. It makes sense for it to be the standard. No one wants to deal with huge decimals. And here we are. And once again, just huge. Block had their investor day. It's just really cool to see what Block is shipping. We're just very focused on Bitcoin as money. And it's great to have a large publicly traded company that's in the S&P 500 focused on that. I think it helps all of us.
Yeah. And I think it's not only is it important that they're launching these products now, but It's great to get these in the hands of it's incredible to get these in the hands of merchants and really incentivize them to adopt Bitcoin because of the fees they can save on credit card fees and interchange fees. But I think the sort of second order effect that I'm really happy is being brought to the conversation is like, hey, Bitcoin should be everyday money. And I think there has been an over indexing on Bitcoin as just like this digital gold store of value, digital capital, which is all well and good. And actually, I was talking about this with somebody last night too. It's funny because both camps, whether it's Sailor or Jack, I think Sailor and Jack are getting juxtaposed to each other. Their strategies getting juxtaposed to each other too. Sailor obviously accumulate as much Bitcoin, hold it forever, never sell. Jack, everyday money, like really doesn't want Bitcoin to be pigeonholed as this savings technology. But I think both sides could do a better job of meeting in the middle and saying it's both. Like if you live on a Bitcoin standard, it is incredible savings technology. And when you have to go buy things, it's an incredible payments network as well. It's both.
Look, yeah, I mean, look, the good money. I swear, my dog. As soon as I unmute, I have 2 dogs in here. By the way, the third dog is trusted and outside of the office. So you're hearing 2 different dogs. One is peaceful. Anyway, good money needs to be able to be spent and saved without permission. You need both. If you're not able to spend it without permission, then you don't actually own the money. You don't have control over it, or you can't take advantage of the value accretion. And if your savings don't go up in purchasing power, then it's shitty money, right? You're going to want to hold something else. So you need both. That argument has always, like digital gold versus peer-to-peer cash, has always been a bullshit argument because you need both. I would say though, on the Sailor front, like dude, like 5 months ago was in Prague and his keynote was about borrowing $1 million from your friends and family to buy Bitcoin. I I think he should take a long look at the mirror and ask himself if he's been a responsible steward of Bitcoin. Because a lot of people basically did the opposite of stay humble, stack sats off of his advice.
Yeah. And with that, I'll address an X comment I just got. I quote tweeted the episode on X and said, "We're celebrating the dump. Get in here." That was a bit facetious. Somebody said, "I'm ride or die Bitcoin," but this is tone deaf. Most of us understand and even expect that the market will dump. That you feel the need to celebrate is not only aggravating, but reveals either how disconnected you've become or unsympathetic to the average person, many of whom are struggling mightily. And I would just advise you to rewind the tape about a minute and listen to what Matt just said. Like we're consistent. Stay humble, stack sats. It was a joke. I was joking. I mean, and it is funny. Like I love when the Bitcoin price is going up, and when it's down, it's like, it stinks. But it's also like I get to buy cheap sats. So there is like
No, fuck that. I prefer when it's going up. Fuck. I'm tired, boss. I don't. I was hoping you were right about a super cycle. No more dumps. Focus on my family.
Next year.
I got real costs. This fucking sucks.
All right, on to the Human Rights Foundation.
Bitcoin could go to 0, and we'll still have RHR that week. We might not have RHR the week after, but ride or die. Don't say it.
We will show up. We will show up like men and address the situation. We'll hold our hands up and we'll say, "Hey, it was a fun ride. We really believed in it, but it didn't work out." If it goes to 0, we'll say, "Hey," and we'll probably be screaming mandibles. Lionel Shriver was right. Bitcoin just didn't work. And that will become my new Bible. And I'll probably read it for the first time ever, if that happens.
I mean, look, Lionel came on my show. Go listen to the Dispatch with Lionel. It's fucking awesome. And she's a Bitcoiner now. So she admits, more people should admit when they're wrong. She admits that she was wrong about thinking Bitcoin would fail. I mean, she wrote the book in like 2015. I give the lady some credit. Yeah, mandibles is going to happen.
But if it does fail, that book is going to be even more popular.
I mean, to be clear, gold fails in that book too. It's just because they just send like National Guard around to seize people's gold, and then we give all the gold to China.
We give it all to China?
Yeah, because we're just like
We
a
have to cover
debtor
the debt.
nation to them.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. All right, I've read the book before. All right, now I have the full context of the book. It all makes sense now.
But unfortunately, we have Bitcoin. Bitcoin gives me hope. Bitcoin and precious metals. And I'm not talking about gold when I say precious metals.
And this is why you have to be hopeful for Bitcoin's future as we transition to the Human Rights Foundation Financial Freedom Report story of the week coming out of the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, where the first CBDC transaction has been completed. The UAE completed its first government-to-government transaction with its digital dirham, central bank digital currency. This initiative was part of the CBDC's pilot phase and was implemented using the mBridge platform. Officials say this marks a move toward domestic rollout with more widespread adoption planned across both public and private sectors. The UAE deploys an extensive and sophisticated surveillance tool system across public spaces and digital communications, raising concerns that placing transactions on state-controlled CBDC ledgers would further centralize visibility over everyday financial activity. In context, Project mBridge connects the CBDCs of China, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Hong Kong, and Thailand into a unified, programmable settlement system designed to give central banks real-time visibility and control over cross-border flows. The surveillance-ready platform risks exporting the financial governance model of authoritarian states. For more stories like this and others to stay up to date with oppression around the world, go to financialfreedomreport.org. They also have the CBDC tracker, which I am pretty confident is updated with this information. And I think another important tidbit of that move in the UAE, correct me if I'm wrong, Logan, can you do some looking up right now? But I believe the UAE made it harder to use Bitcoin within their borders as well. I think they're preventing individual citizens from self-custodying, I believe. I think I saw that headline last week. Logan, if you can confirm or deny, am I right or am I misremembering something? No. What did they do? Pull it back up. The Central Bank of the UAE law was issued in the official gazette and became legally effective as September 16th, 2025. The law, in particular, makes it. All right, Logan, I can't read this anymore. You're going to have to hop in. Offer any tools which include self-custodial Bitcoin wallet, blockchain explorers, or coin market cap sites to UAE
I
citizens
just
without a
asked.
license.
I
You have
asked
to get a license to
Maple.
offer self-custody.
Yeah, I asked Maple, and it says it criminalizes the use of unlicensed tools like self-custody wallets, even though owning Bitcoin remains legal.
Yeah.
By the way,
Yeah.
freaks, Maple now has real-time web search built into it, which is awesome. Try maple.ai. Do they give us a discount code yet?
I think so. There's
Try code
TFTC. I
RHR.
think there's RHR too. Try RHR.
Don't do
Speaking of
TFTC,
which,
then only Marty gets a cut.
we don't get a cut of this either. But Soap Miner hopped in the Noster live stream, and he's offering you freaks. He zapped us 21,000 sats. If you need relief from the price action, use code RHR for 10% off at soapminer.com. Have an amazing day, freaks. We get no kickback from that.
Best soap
It's
in the
just
business.
best soap in the
We
business.
just
I bring it with
get
me.
that nice clean feeling in the shower with our soaps.
I bring it with me. I have it in my travel bag now. I wrap it up in some paper towels instead of using the toxic like
It's
hotel
so nice.
shampoo,
And
body
it gets
wash. I
around the
just
TSA bullshit of liquids.
yeah, it's bar soap.
Dude, ban the fucking TSA. Fuck that. Fucking ridiculous. That's what they took from us. What
Somebody
else?
has flown. Somebody has flown 8 flights in the last 2 weeks because I've had West Coast both trips with connections the way there and the way back. I'm all for banning the TSA. 8 flights in 2 weeks, a lot. That just hit me. Been in the air a lot.
On the topic of shilling ref links. Go to drinksote.com and use code RHR for Salt of the Earth. It will change your family's life. Best electrolytes in the game.
It will. 15% off. 15%
Don't
off.
let your kids drink soda. Make them drink healthy electrolytes.
Yeah, salty water.
Salty water. Did your family start
While we're
calling it
at
salty water too now?
Yeah.
It's good,
While we're
man.
at it, try code R. We've been saying this for years. I still don't know if it works. Try code RHR on CoinKite if you're buying.
I think it works. No, it works.
Yeah, I think you
And
get
they have a
5%
Black
off.
Friday sale.
Black Friday through the end of next week.
If you haven't listened, go to CyrilDispatch.com or search Cyril Dispatch in your favorite podcast app. I just had NVK on and we argued. It was a great rip. It was a fun rip.
That's shocking. You two never argue. Can't believe
you're being sarcastic, right? Yeah. It's like a daily occurrence.
It's good to see updates in the Nosterverse satellite B2.
Wait. We got to read shout outs from last week.
Oh, shit. Do you have them up?
Let me pull it up real quick.
I saw Sil sent us one yesterday.
Rabbit hole recap. Oh, that's good. We're trending, so I can just click it. Top zap last week was Pringle Mac Ride or Die, 22,222 sats. Race car zap, all sats matter and sats speak louder than words. Another couple of banger taglines from Odell. Also, we are going to be at BitBlock Boom this year, so hope to see you there, Marty. Stay humble, freaks. Love Sil and Tony. I will not be at BitBlock Boom this year, but it's a great conference. And then we have Ride or Die Freaks, Stimmy, 40 hours per week, zapped 21,000 sats. Shout out to the Bitcoin veterans in Bitcoin Park for a phenomenal summit last week. Thanks as well to Nifty and BitDevs for letting us knuckle draggers play along. Free Samourai. Well said. Love the Bitcoin veterans. We did a great show at Bitcoin Park.
But I will say, not well said, Stimmy. Thanks as well to Nifty and BitDevs for letting us knuckle draggers play along. That is the beauty of BitDevs. It is open for everybody. It's a Socratic seminar where anybody who's curious and so willing to put in the effort to show up and ask questions about Bitcoin can do so. And it's how I learned most of the information I know about the Bitcoin protocol is by going to those. And I was an extreme novice when I first started going to those meetups. So don't denigrate the people who don't know about it. You'll be surprised to me how much you learn if you keep showing up.
Yeah, no, that's how we grew up on New York BitDevs, the original BitDevs. And I always say a good BitDevs means you don't understand 50%, at least 50% of what's going on. Early days of BitDevs, I was like 90% over my head. Put yourself in tough situations, grow through it.
Yeah.
That's how humans flourish.
You learn via osmosis over time. Keep going, freaks. Especially in bear markets. Those are the best BitDevs too. All the not saying we're in a bear market. We're still in a super cycle, but we're in a little correction. So like some people might get scared away from BitDevs. You go. Those are the best ones. That's where you have the ability.
I did successfully call the super cycle cope of just constantly changing the definition of super cycle. We've just been, ever since Bitcoin existed, we've just been in one big super cycle with multi-year drawdowns.
Yeah.
I really hope. I hope it's just a correction and it's a V-shaped recovery. Like I'm not trying to do 2 more years of rabbit hole recap without all-time highs. Like,
hey, what have we learned?
I'm tired, boss.
Hey, buckle up, buddy. The freaks need us. Okay, can't be tired.
No.
This is when we need to be energized. Bring in the vibes.
Well, if you want me to be energized, let's not do a morning rip. You know.
I know. That's on me. It's on me this week. I will not be traveling next week, so probably be Friday next week too, since it's Thanksgiving, or Wednesday. Or actually, no, I can't do Wednesday. I've got my day before Thanksgiving tradition.
Wait, I wasn't paying attention. When are we doing it next week?
Friday.
Is Thanksgiving's Thursday?
Every year since it started.
No, I was just confirming that next week is Thanksgiving. Yeah, I'm gonna have family in town. I could probably do it. We'll make Friday work. We're definitely not doing Thursday.
We'll figure it. No.
Friday works. I don't do Black Friday.
Our wives would not be happy.
Honestly, freaks, like with the way the economy is going, I think any of us with disposable income are going to have every Friday is going to be Black Friday. There's just going to be discounts left and right. So
That's a very good point. You know, it's very good to see. Satellite version 2 is out. Stuart Bauman took to
look, Stewart
Nostr.
is a legend among men. I had the pleasure of meeting him in Riga last year. Satellite.earth is what we use to host all of our RHRs on Nostr. It's a great CDN. It's a great way to host verifiable video through the Nostr protocol using Blossom. So the only place in the world where you can view RHR and know it hasn't been changed by the big tech overlords, and your client, your app can actually verify that it hasn't been changed, is on Nostr. And us specifically, that's powered by Satellite. So he just had a huge update with Satellite V2. He's been working on it for a year. It's a full Nostr app, but he also improved the CDN. He also improved the video hosting, all kinds of file hosting. You can host any kind of file there in a verifiable way. PDFs, Epstein files, anything you want. RHR. I do think like people are sleeping on like Bitcoin, Nostr as distributed WikiLeaks. So it's only a half joke that the
Hey,
Epstein files should be on
no,
Blossom.
we know there's many members of the U.S. House of Representatives that listen to the show and learn how to use a VPN, learn how to set up an NSEC and a Nostr public key, and find the client that makes it conducive and just drop the files. Just drop them. People want them. Mike
Who is
Johnson.
Bubba?
Yeah. Was not expecting to see that email. But all of them, like they're all
Did you see
it's
that Clinton came out and said it wasn't? Oh no, Epstein's brother came out and said Bubba wasn't Bill Clinton, but he didn't deny the actual comment.
yeah. And then he got pressed. Then he got pressed in the interview and he started like pushing back, like I'm not answering these questions. But anyway, like talked about it with Eric, talked about it with Kyle. It is insane. Like you have Speaker of the House Johnson basically saying we can't release these classified information, could put Intel members at risk. It's like what? What are we doing?
Yeah, release the tapes. If you're not
Yeah,
you can
I mean
protect the victims, but the perpetrators
implicit.
need to
That's
be tarred and feathered, and worse.
yeah. That's an implicit admission that Jeffrey Epstein was an Intel asset. And if it's going to put if most people are assuming it's for Mossad, but if it's going to put our Intel agencies at risk, then it means they were coordinating,
It was a
collaborating
combo.
with.
It was a combo deal.
Yeah.
It was most likely a combo deal.
But did you another speaking while we're on the topic of corruption in the federal government? Did you see the Autopilot CEO was on the Hill this week?
No. What is
So
Autopilot?
Autopilot is the app that lets you copy trade the senators and representatives who are insider trading. It's like Pelosi tracker, and if
They're
you
amazing
haven't,
traders. It's pretty
yeah,
impressive.
it was, and this guy's testimony was extremely impressive. I'm pretty sure it was the CEO, but he's basically like, "Hey, we launched this to highlight the abject corruption that exists with the insider trading on the Hill, and they're literally outperformed the Pelosi tracker. If it was a hedge fund, it like the AUM trading behind Pelosi's portfolio is bigger than most hedge funds, and it's outperforming most hedge funds as well. And it's like uh, it's insanely corrupt, like overtly
Um,
corrupt, right in front of everybody's face, and it's across the aisle. It's not a right versus left thing. He highlighted many senators and Congress people on both sides of the aisles that are having their trades tracked and have significant AUM on Autopilot.
look, the only way to avoid this is to like humans are inherently corrupt. This is why like we can't rely on institutions that are centralized, because you just naturally introduce human corruption. But as long as there is a government, like there needs to be requirements on divestment, and they have to like I mean, I've seen proposals that they have to be in treasuries. I'm only half joking, but I like the idea of a proposal that sitting politicians can only hold Bitcoin. They have to divest and just hold the only neutral asset in the world. Obviously, I have a little bit of bias there. But then I think they would be incentivized to improve human flourishing rather than enrich their own pockets. So that would be awesome. Get rid of cap
Agreed.
gains and force all the politicians to only hold Bitcoin.
Well, this conversation's all for naught because the next topic is Elon Musk taking to the stage to say that nobody's going to have a job and we're not even going to need money. So none of this matters.
Okay, he
Why are
started
we even
this on
talking about
Rogan.
this?
I don't know. I listened to Elon's Rogan episode and Elon's All In episode, the cheap RHR clone by the elite tech bros, which I hate listening to every week. But he started this idea, like not basic, universal basic income, but he's bringing in universal high income, that everyone's going to be wealthy. And it's just straight bullshit. Like there's no way that's how it's going to play out. And I do wonder, like, does he believe it or does he know it's bullshit? But it's amazing to me that he can say it with a straight face. It's amazing to me that Rogan took it with a straight face. He's like, oh, we're just all going to be wealthy. Like we're going to have no jobs and have no worries. Like that's fantastic. And then they just ended the episode.
I think
Like, what the
he may
fuck?
actually believe it. I think he may believe it. But or actually no. Maybe this is how he has to position it, like before, like there's no going back.
That's
There's
what he's
truly no going
saying.
back.
Yeah, he's doing like the narrative technique of you just go to the extreme opposite side as cover, because no, people are gonna fucking hurt. Like it's gonna be like it's gonna be bad, and it's one of those out of touch things that like trillionaires say. Well, he's the only trillionaire, but that
He's not a
billionaires
trillionaire
say,
yet.
right? It's like,
He's not a trillionaire yet. He's got to hit those KPIs first.
oh, is they factoring that in, like his bonuses and stuff?
Yeah, it was an options package. Like he doesn't. None of that triggers
Oh.
until it hits certain.
Oh, they were like
profit.
factoring in that he owns 25% of Tesla or whatever. Anyway, he will be a trillionaire eventually. I have very little doubt in my mind. The dude is very, very good at executing, but he's full of shit when he says that everyone's going to have universal high income and not have to work. That's some make-believe bullshit. And he shouldn't be allowed to say it with a straight face. Like anyone interviewing him when he says that shit should just be like, you're full of shit. Defend it.
And everybody's like, we're gonna have a world of infinite abundance, and that's just like, no, resources are scarce. Yes, things may be more abundant if the success of AI is as big as many in Silicon Valley think it's going to be, and it can make many things more abundant, but it doesn't mean that they're infinitely abundant. Yes, you can have, I guess, abundant, infinitely abundant abundance, infinite abundance in the digital world, but we are physical beings that need to live somewhere, eat things, and move about the world. That is a very limited physical space.
Look, if you count a universal high income as plugging into a sex pod and having intravenous nutrients being poured into you while you live in your little AI dreamscape, maybe that's what he means. But I wouldn't call that universal high income, and I wouldn't call that a good life.
No. You know what else is not a good life? Being a gooner. And Rep Brad Sherman was gooning on a plane.
Okay, so Marty, why do you think I put this in the list?
You linked to this?
Yeah, so Marty.
I want to talk about porn.
Logan.
Marty. First of all, Rep Sherman has been super anti-Bitcoin forever. He kind of understands Bitcoin more than most politicians, though, because the reason he's anti-Bitcoin is because he thinks it undermines the U.S. Fiat hegemony, which he's correct about. But he's super anti-Bitcoin, and this picture went viral of him on an airplane, looking at looking at what a lot of people thought was Pornhub or something equivalent to it.
No, it's just they're just
Um,
scantily dressed women, and very,
but so
very,
Marty being the anti-porn influencer that he was, like, didn't skip a moment to call him out. But did you see that it turned out that he was just on the For You feed of X?
is that what he's saying?
No,
Yeah.
you can look at the screenshots. It's clearly X. He's just like on iPad. He's
Yeah,
on
well,
X on an iPad.
doesn't change it. Doesn't change it. That algo is, like, feeding his desires, which is
No. So my question for you, Marty, is as someone who I think rightfully thinks that porn is a massive negative for our society and for our kids. How do you feel feeding into the system that is basically porn on everyone's phones, which is X for you algorithm?
um I don't know.
Like,
I'm looking at my
are you building your businesses on Pornhub? Is that basically what you're doing? Are you an
no,
OnlyFans influencer?
no, the algo is what you make it. I'm looking at my For You tab right now, and it's very, very clean. A lot of economic data. We got Joe Weisenthal, a lot of Bitcoin talk. There's some Eagles highlights. Like, it's good. We got a beautiful picture of the skyline of Philadelphia here. Some talk about Somalians that need to be deported. It's it's a good For You tab. I mean, it's gonna feed into the stuff that you're interested in. Brad Sherman, Rep Sherman, I would highly recommend that you divert your interest towards worthwhile and more wholesome endeavors, you know?
Well, I obviously X is a black box, and no one knows what's actually going on in there except for Elon and his team. But I would go to reason that a high percentage of X feeds look like Representative Sherman's,
I would agree.
and a very low percentage look like your look like your feed.
And
It's
I
just an
think it says
interesting.
more
It's an
I think it says more
interesting.
about the individual than the algo, you know?
I think it says a lot about society.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um, I see all of you egging Logan on to hit the soundboard in the chat, and I don't appreciate it. I do appreciate Fizzables though for the 21,000 sat zap cheap sats at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you for your support, freaks. It keeps us going.
It does. And we do have to wrap up. I have to get ready for this wedding. It starts in a couple hours, and we do have one more topic, which is the Cloudflare outage. And you don't have it on the list, but interested to get your thoughts on it. Why you put it on the list, and I've certainly got some thoughts on it as well.
Well, I mean, half the internet went down. Uh,
Yeah.
Cloudflare is a government op, or at least a quasi government op. That's basically a protection racket, like the old school mafia bosses, where they would go in and destroy a hardware store, and then be like, "Do you want protection from ourselves? And then we'll protect your hardware store for a fee." Is what Cloudflare does. I'm pretty sure, at least uh, if they're not doing it directly, people they're affiliated with are DDoSing sites to push them onto Cloudflare, and then Cloudflare sits as a man in the middle. And on the Bitcoin side, so Cloudflare is supposed to protect you from your site getting attacked and taken down by a boatload of traffic. So they end up sitting in the middle of a ton of popular websites, including pretty much every Bitcoin exchange. So when Cloudflare went down, X went down, most Bitcoin exchanges went down. Huge central point of failure. So I think it's important to note how fragile that relationship is, but also how much trust is involved in developers putting Cloudflare between them and their users. And unfortunately, there's not easy answers, because it's definitely an economies of scale thing. You can try and mitigate potential DDoS vectors yourself, but it can get quite expensive and way less effective than if you use Cloudflare.
Yeah. Well, props where props are due in the space. River, I know Alex and his team have intentionally been building their back end systems in a way to avoid it. I think they successfully avoided the Cloudflare outage. I think they're using Elixir and I think they open source a lot of it too, if you're interested. Saw Alex this week as well. It's good catching up with him. The other thing I wanted to bring up with this Cloudflare outage, did you see the Anthropic postmortem they did last week
What the
on
malicious
this
people were using
cyber
Anthropic to attack
espionage?
websites?
They're saying the Chinese government was using the LLMs, the Claude LLMs, different Claude LLMs as agents, and Anthropic's MCP framework to basically wage cyber attacks excuse me, on critical systems. And I just want to highlight this. You read the newsletter I wrote earlier this week on it, because if you read it, like, the tone is such that Anthropic's like, hey, there's these Chinese cyber espionage attackers using our agents and our MCP framework to do relatively cheap and quick attacks on critical systems. And it seems like a feel-good story, like, hey, we were able to identify and stop this. But if you read between the lines, what I'm reading between the lines is that Anthropic is trying to create a problem reaction solution narrative where they're really in the postmortem. They were like, if we weren't able to see that these cyber attackers were using our LLMs, and we weren't able to see their prompts and the way that they were connecting with the MCP, we wouldn't have been able to stop this. And I think it's just something to keep an eye on. I think the big players in the AI world are really going to be gunning for regulatory moats. And one of the narratives they're going to be running with is, you need us to be some of the few actors that are actually able to train and launch these LLMs, because if they're open source LLMs, they're self-hosted, or if they have a model like Maple does, where you're doing confidential compute in the secure enclaves, we're not going to have visibility, and the hackers are just going to be able to run wild. And I think that's the
Yeah,
narrative
it's
they're going to run with.
the 100%, and they have been running with that narrative. And Anthropic specifically has been one of the most guilty of running with that narrative of quote unquote safe AI, and the threat of AI. And they constantly, around their fundraisers, release research papers and whatnot about the dangers of AI, and that we're going to have Skynet if we don't have regulatory moats. And if you want an example in the Bitcoin space, this is what Coinbase did with the Bit license. Coinbase had first mover advantage. They had a ton of capital, and they could afford heavy regulation. So they lobbied for regulation so that other exchanges and other brokerage services
if you
would
go out
have
long enough, assuming there's a continued improvement in
a harder time to compete. You're just
Logan,
playing
what was
Elon in the
that?
background.
I was sitting here doing nothing, and that page just decided to play the video. I didn't even have it up. I was on a different tab.
That sounds like an excuse. It sounds like.
But anyway, this is what
attention, please.
Coinbase did in the Bitcoin space. We've seen this time and time again. And I remember, I don't know if you remember back, that narrative was like, you shouldn't be able to launch an exchange in a garage. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a similar, it's a similar thing. This is just eternal September. Just rinse and repeat, happens over and over again. Fuck regulatory moats. They hurt end users. And you pretend that they're protecting end users, but they're not actually.
Yeah. And this isn't to say that these AI attacks aren't real and they won't happen. They're certainly real, and they certainly will continue to happen at an increasing, accelerating pace, because it's so cheap and it's very easy to, especially if you're a savvy hacker, to basically daisy chain these agents together via these MCP frameworks to wage these attacks. But the lesson shouldn't be, hey, we need every LLM provider to have a license, and we need visibility into every single input into our system. We need access to all the data in our AI systems. The lesson should be, like we've been saying for years in the Bitcoin space, particularly as it pertains to ransomware, people need to secure their systems better passwords, better process controls, all this stuff.
No, yeah, like, to put it succinctly, like, the bad actors are going to use this shit anyway. It just hurts good people.
Yeah.
Like, you're putting a surveillance regime and control regime in place, pretending that it's going to stop bad actors. Bad actors get around it because they're savvy and they have the capital needs to get around it, and they don't care about breaking the law because they're fucking criminals in the first place. And then good people get fucked. We see this with KYC. You know, KYC identity requirements on people that are using financial products or any other product, because KYC is spreading throughout our digital lives, doesn't stop criminals, because criminals just use bought, sold, faked documents, or they go through other means in order to transact or use these systems. So call out the bullshit, fade the bullshit. Don't let them gaslight you, gaslight us. You're not going to have universal high income either, unless you work for it.
Aw. I mean, if we're not going to get the super cycle, at least we're going to have universal high income.
Yes.
Come on.
The fiat super cycle version. We've always been in a super cycle since the dawn of Bitcoin, with small corrections that are oftentimes multi-year.
Yeah, it's just a flesh wound. It's just a flesh wound, freaks, okay?
Tis
In all
but a
seriousness,
flesh wound.
there's a lot of people hopping in that tweet I sent out, trying to draw people to the episode. And I was being facetious. I am empathetic.
Dude, people are fucking... A lot of people wrecked right now. Particularly, I mean, the real question, you want to talk about personal responsibility. I mean, the real question is, I bet you I'm going to be able to count the number of influencers that admit that they were wrong for pushing people into leveraged Bitcoin stocks on one hand. There's not going to be many. Most of them are just going to brush it off, write a book about living an extraordinary life, and then on to the next scam.
Beware. Hey, we did a good job of getting in front of that this summer. Paper Bitcoin summer was raging. I'd like to think, the level-headed individuals in the room saying, it sounds too good to be true.
I'm tired, boss.
I'm tired, boss, too. I mean, that too, with the price, I think maybe we'll end on this, since you mentioned it earlier, in the day-to-day workings with Strike, a lot of questions about the loan product in this volatile price environment. What would you say about how would you answer the questions of?
I think if you're going to take a loan out, you should be very conservative about it, about how much you take out. Less is more. I think you should heavily over collateralize it. You go in. Strike specifically has a very clean, transparent UX on liquidation levels and margin call levels, and make sure that number is as low as possible, because scam wicks rule everything around us, and you don't know how volatile things can be. So be careful there. I will just say that on the Strike side, there's a requirement for 50% LTV. So loans are already pretty over collateralized by default. Users can't be more reckless than that. And there haven't been any liquidations yet. There could be. Market's going to market.
Don't really happen until 85% LTV too, which is
correct.
Better.
And so the things that have been going viral of the notification saying to top up your loan collateral is actually the Strike team being proactive and being like, you're at 60%, you should add more. You should have more collateral or pay down your loan, because there's no origination fees or early termination fees. So you can actually pay down your loan at will whenever you want, or add collateral and move collateral. So that's what those notifications are. Just to, ideally, in a perfect world, people extremely over collateralize and don't take out, a significant portion of their Bitcoin stack in terms of loans. But there's no way for Strike to know what your total stack size is. So we can't enforce don't take out more than 5% of your total stack size or whatever. It's we don't want to know your total stack size.
Yeah. Will you please get that dog a diaper? Come on. I can't listen to it struggle anymore. Just get it a diaper.
No, she will not get a diaper, but she will be allowed out of the office since we're wrapping now. Anyway, freaks, love you all. Stay humble, stack sets.
Hey, keep your heads on. Nothing new. We're going to be here week in and week out. Don't get too emotional. Peace and love.